Have you ever had this feeling after a long exhausting day that you want to play in Title Tuesday to face top GMs and famous content creators? No? I also haven't. But my friend Vladimir, who is co-founder of this channel, had. And in the first very round, he got paired with Levy Rozman, aka GothamChess. And let's see what happened.
So, this is the first round. Vladimir plays white, Levy plays black, and let's begin. The game started with knight f3, g6, b4, bishop g7, black choosing sort of fianchetto setup, similar to King's Indian, creating pressure against the center. Normally white here plays or e4, or maybe c4 as well. This would be standard King's Indian ways. With e4 it's possible even to play c3 to neutralize the bishop, but in the game awkward move b3 was played. Why? It's a bit weird because the bishop pressuring long diagonal, and after you play b3 obviously the plan is to fianchetto the bishop later on, or to play e3 and try to finish development somehow in a normal way, or maybe go for a double fianchetto, which I prefer honestly more. But this move has a clear drawback because black can start attacking, let's say with c5, creating pressure on this diagonal, and at some moment black can decide to take, which will make this pawn kind of annoying for white, because this bishop usually goes to b2, but right now this bishop will look at the back of the pawn. But black didn't use this chance, didn't play c5, which was probably the best. Black plays d6, bishop b2, and only now c5, but right now it's not that big deal because we can already take end with the bishop and with the knight. We have a variety of options. Black continues knight c6, white plays also standard knight bd2, and right here black, instead of again usual common knight f6 move, prefers knight h6, which is a kind of interesting opportunity and pretty tricky, with an idea not to block the bishop but create a pressure against the center. White plays bishop e2 in order to finish development, and after knight f5 already there is a pressure against the pawn. We cannot let it go because otherwise pawn will be lost in a moment. So c3 was played. If you ask this bishop how's he doing right now, he'll probably not tell you something kind and good, because he's looking at the wall from pawns. But later on, white can play d5, c4, especially if they develop bishop to avoid losing it, and there will be a lot of space, and the bishop will shine bright again. Castle short, black choosing, white kind of playing back, and right now black had many options, like computer recommends something like e6 if I'm not mistaken, but black plays natural move b6, trying to finish development, plays the bishop on the long diagonal because bishops like long diagonals, and it's logical to try to place it. And this was kind of first critical moment because in this position, Vladimir, without long thought, he spent like, I don't know, 5 seconds playing queen c2, which is development move, and you can say what can be wrong. But more experienced players might notice this knight, of course, had some goods because he attacked the center, but right now he's a little bit misplaced, and white could actually try to target it. There are two ways how to do it, e4 or g4, but e4 after knight retreats it will not succeed that much, plus there is an intermediate cd move that might be very, very tricky. Therefore we can consider g4, and this may be, I mean, absolutely unclear move. Why do we do it? It's like really like horror story for the king, because we push the pawn in front of the king. There are no premises for the attack, but we kind of can be materialistic in this position because we want to win material, and everything can be justified by the word material in chess. That's the reason why g4 is a pretty strong move. So what options does black have? For example, Levy could go knight h6 at this line, but then after g5, knight here, we're really very, very close to win the knight, and e4 would be probably too early to play because again cd is an option. But if we play d5 after knight d5, apparently this knight is trapped. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Knight h6 he's taking, knight h4 he's taking, intermediate capture doesn't help, and that's it. Black cannot dodge this losing piece idea. The only thing Black could do at this moment is to take cd premature, but still it leads also to hard position for Black. Right now e4 no longer working because of knight d4, and it's very hard to notice all of that from the distance for White and for Black, but White can first eliminate the knight and later play for still trapping the piece. So this was first chance for Vladimir when he could get an advantage. Instead he played queen c2. Normal looking move. Black decided to take. More normal would be to take cd, because then we can fight for an open file, and this is a kind of standard setup for some Slav systems. When you have an open file, when this bishop on g7 is not playing very well, when we have a little bit more space. Instead, Vladimir played ed. He said after the game to me that his idea was to play d5, c4, boom, boom, and I win. He almost literally said something like that. I already do not recall. But yeah, that's what happened. Move not bad itself, but I liked cd a little bit more, and that's what happened. d5, knight d5, knight takes, and c4 was played. Finally, this bishop is alive. Finally, he's on the open diagonal. I mean, he's back, but for too long. And actually not, because after knight d4 there is a fork, and only the bishop saw the light. He has to be traded for the knight, because otherwise knight e2, bishop b2 is a very irritating threat. Was it possible somehow to dodge it? I doubt it, because the pawn is hanging and c4 seems like the move that has to be played. So bishop pair for Black, pretty good news. And right here a5, Black plays, trying to advance the pawn, as we will see later on. Maybe I think better was to play e6, because right now, as you can see, the bishop on b7 is not the brightest one. He's not doing that much. He's looking at the wall from pawns. So ideally, white or Black wants to prepare some opening scene so that bishops could target the position of white, because in closed positions knights are stronger than bishops, and having such bishop on b7 is not the greatest example. Instead a5 was played. What would be logical to do as white? Try to activate the pieces, probably go knight f3, then knight can go to the center. There are plenty of holes, and knight is amazing piece for occupying an outpost, and this would be probably the best shot. Black would have to at some moment maybe give up the bishop for the knight, and white has space advantage. This bishop sucks, and we can create an attack. Instead, Vladimir, being a very attacking guy, decides for a straight attack. Doesn't matter what happens. I mean, I will or win or die. That's how we can really understand this move. And a4 was played. Black's idea is pretty clear: to take AB, take control over open file and try to conquer it. Logical move would be to play before to keep the position closed, and I don't know what happened, but white kept on pushing. Again, plan is to mate the king, not something else. AB. This is a significant improvement for Black, because open file under control. White cannot compete there because the bishop controls a1. Black tries to undermine the position by b5, because if white takes somewhere, these pawns will be extremely weak. I mean, it would be 3 islands, and it's not great. But it didn't confuse Vladimir, because he decided to take. And right now, taking on d5 is a really risky event, even though it's possible, because two bishops standing on the same file as the rook, and some discovered attack might work, like knight c4, knight f3, something like that, or queen d3, for example, and it's pretty hard to defend. So GothamChess didn't risk in this position. He decided to play rook c8, queen d3, bishop f6. White continue improving, knight e4, bishop g7. And what we can see, white is up a pawn, even though this pawn kind of is a broken leg and not going anywhere before it fixes all the problems. But on the other hand, the bishop is bad, and if white continued queen e3, bishop c4, reinforce the position, maybe later on somewhere played b6, maybe created pressure right here. It could be possible. Also, knight g5, queen h3 somewhere would be ideal. But my friend is not waiting. He wants blood, he wants action. Bishop g4 comes right here, attacking the rook. You may say, stop, 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 stop. What is going on? There is a 5, it's a fork. Even a kid would notice it. And if not only a kid, but also Vladimir saw it, and he played knight g5. His idea is very tricky, is that after fg, he can continue attacking. He has queen g6, he has knight e6, he has mating ideas, too many threats, so this bishop is invincible for now. Rook c3 was played, queen is running back to b1 to maintain this idea of targeting the pawn on g6. Black plays a e5, loves this decision, this is very dynamic. Black says, you attacked me, alright, I don't mind, I will attack you instead, and we'll see who will be first. Knight e6 happened in the game, forking and the queen and the rook. Queen h4, knight takes f8, king takes f8, and right now black is down in exchange, but black has a perfect initiative. And you can try to stop the video and try the comment what do you think would be the best continuation, but I will proceed. The best move probably was bishop f5. We need to give material back in order to try to create some activity for us and neutralize activity of the opponent, because materially we are ahead. We have rook and 3 pawns, doesn't matter how sick they are, I mean, and doesn't matter that it's really hard to watch how pity they are. It's like 3 pawns and we have activity. It was the best way, but Vladimir found another way to create an activity, which apparently was wrong, but it's hard to notice in the blitz with the 50 seconds on the clock. He plays queen a1, attacking the rook. Black, of course, plays e4, activating the bishop. White continues with queen a7, trying to attack the bishop over there. Black plays bishop e5 in this position, threatening mate in 1, and white is forced to retreat. And right here, the move that black had to play to have a solid advantage and almost win the game. I'm not even sure that top GMs like 27, 2800s could find. Of course, yeah, maybe I'm exaggerating, and in the classical game it would be possible, but the move looks so unnatural. I mean, it's really like the move that you would consider probably the last. And in the game, rook h3 happened, and let's first see what happened in the game and how was it better to continue. Queen b8 was played, king g7, and why this idea doesn't work that well, and how white can survive, which white didn't see during the game, and Vladimir definitely missed the shot. It was queen c7. After queen c7, we kind of want to give a perpetual. Logical to assume that king would like to find some cozy spot on h6 to hide. And after gh, and let's say check, king h1, queen f4, when the king of white is one move away from being mated, queen c1 comes. That's like, I don't know how it's possible to calculate in a 3+1 game in Title Tuesday. It's just impossible. Even, I mean, this is, by the way, great puzzle for some tactical books. And this geometry helps white to stay alive. And this was the way. And therefore, as I heard Levy on the stream also analyzed it, Kamira said, bishop c6. And you can say, what the hell? Like, what is this? Like, it's like really, I mean, super stupid. The dumbest thing that could happen in the middle of the position, put the bishop under a double attack of pawns, help your opponent fix the pawn structure. But the major difference right now is that this idea not working anymore, because if we keep on checking, even though black down the whole, I don't know, bunch of pieces after queen g5, king h1, queen f4, queen is not some acrobatic gymnast or something like that. Queen cannot jump over the pawn and play queen c1 to create the spin, and this is mate. It's inevitable. So bishop c6 was, I mean, almost winning game, real game changer. Kamira gives some f4 move, but it's too complex. By the way, bishop c8 with the same idea wouldn't work out very well, because there is a tricky move rook c1, trying to target the bishop with a checkmate. What happened in the game? Rook takes, queen b8, king g7. Vladimir chose queen b7, which 99% of people would probably do, especially in blitz. King goes to h6, and after gh, it was a time for Levy pass back and miss the winning continuation. Because right now, in the game, queen h3 happened, which is supernatural move. And without long thinking, black automatically played it. But in fact, forced move would be queen g5, because it's a check. You always want to consider forced moves first. And after king h1, queen f4, the game would be over. It's mate, it's inevitable. Vladimir would be destroyed. Instead, queen h3 was played, and here white plays perfect move of 4, cutting off the bishop, and right now attack slows down. EF was played by black, and another perfect, I mean, I wouldn't say genius move, but yeah, pretty strong move, rook f2 from Vladimir, and mate is gone. Right now, black can repeat moves, but it would most likely be a draw. But he didn't stop. GothamChess, he played bishop g3, continue pressuring, seeing that his opponent in the time trouble. He wants to deliver mate. He's not satisfied with the draw. He wants to take this all. And this was actually a huge mistake, because right now, if Vladimir found the right prophylaxis, instead of going for his initial plan, go for an attack, fast, furious activity, we will take this all, and played queen a7 instead, that's it. There is no way to make progress, because after taking, we can take with the queen, and we are alive because our great help came, and queen can defend everything for sure. Instead, queen e7 happened, and that's how my friend got crushed in this game. Destroyed. Bishop f2 here, queen here, and the problem is that after king e3 we can say goodbye to the queen, and after king e1 f2 facing two queens is not the best experience, and that's how the game ended. There is no sense to continue playing. So this is it. I saw there were some videos by Nakamura, by Levy himself about the tournament when he played some strong players, Alexeyenko, Grishuk. But to be honest, this game was more exciting than them all, because a lot of extremely interesting moments, a lot of interesting tactics, attacks, punches, counter punches, and probably, yeah, Vladimir a little bit was disappointed with his performance, because he wanted to win and he thought he was winning, as he confessed after the game. But still, it's a great game, great content. Even though he lost, it was a pretty nice play. And comment down below what you think about this game. Did you see all the tactics during the game? And yeah, like, subscribe, share this video, and see you in the next episodes. Goodbye.